You are watching William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to The Desk. The NFL Draft is tonight, and here to break it down is Chris Douglas, Samory Rose, Kevin Burkhardt, and Justin Valentovic. Now, fellas, the talk of the town in the NFL, Kyler Murray might be going #1 overall to the Cardinals. Justin, is he worthy of the first overall pick?
Not at all. Let's take a look at his stats last year from Oklahoma. Yes, he won the Heisman. Yes, he had a fantastic year. He threw for over 4,000 yards, 42 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions, great ratio there. He rushed for over 1,000 yards by 1. He rushed for 12 touchdowns. He's a phenomenal quarterback. But I don't think he'll transition well to the NFL. He's a smaller quarterback. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. They don't have an offensive line. He's going to get killed out there. They should trade back and reevaluate that for them. Kevin.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anybody on this, so this is not anything official. This is just my opinion. I tend to agree with Justin, and not that he's not worth it. He's tremendous. I don't know. You know, we always tend to compare him to Russell Wilson because he's small. Well, he's not like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is different. Russell Wilson has different traits that he doesn't have. I think he's going to be fun to watch in the NFL, but I think the Cardinals, I just don't know that it makes sense. I think Josh Rosen's a pretty good quarterback who played behind one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen last year. So I think if they go elsewhere or trade down, I think it might make more sense. But when the head coach you just hired was his head coach in college and they have a super tight bond, I don't know. I would tend to agree, though, that I think their best play would be to go somewhere else.
Samory?
I'll disagree with you guys. So I think he is worthy. He rushed for 1,000 yards. He led his team in rushing, and he also won the Heisman, as Justin said. But also, Cliff Kingsbury, you just brought him up. He's been recruiting him since he's been a sophomore in high school. So I think he also said if he ever had the #1 pick, he would draft Kyler Murray. So we'll figure that out tonight.
I say it all the time. If you figure out two things, the quarterback and the coach, then the rest of it for football, you can kind of figure out the rest. So I think if Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury can be a match made in heaven, then this first pick will be all worth it for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
So what do you do with the quarterback who's there? What do you do with Josh Rosen?
You have to trade him before the draft because teams are going to be drafting their potential young quarterbacks in the second and third rounds. So you need to get that second-round pick that Josh Rosen is being rumored for right now. And then from there, you take Kyler Murray and then draft your needs later on in the draft.
One team that definitely needs a quarterback that might not take one is the New York Giants. Chris, should they address their QB situation with that 6th overall pick?
Well, if we take a look at the numbers for Eli Manning, and most importantly, the number at the top is most important, 36 years old now, and we've probably seen the best of Eli at this point. In my opinion, they should definitely move on, despite throwing for 4,000 yards last year. The eye test for Eli Manning last year was not good. The optics were not good, and without OBJ, I don't know how good of a quarterback he's going to be next year.
And it's a strong quarterback pool, I believe, in this draft. So let's take a look at the quarterbacks. So there's people like Kyler Murray. You guys might not think he might not go first, but if he doesn't, hey, the Giants may be able to pick him. There's Dwayne Haskins, who had a big arm. He threw 50 touchdowns. Then there's people like Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, and Will Grier. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that the Giants can take, but maybe they'll stick around with Eli, and that's not a good idea.
Kevin?
I can tell you this. I know that the Giants think Eli's got something left. I know that Pat Shurmur believes in him, and I think their thinking is they know he's not the guy that won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but they think that he's serviceable enough if they have people around him to protect him and you know, their offensive line was a joke last year. They know it. So I think they feel like, you know, they've got the running back. They still feel like their receivers are good enough without Odell Beckham, and they think that he could be fine. But I do think that they have to find the replacement, even if it's not for this year. They've got to find somebody else because it's clear that he's starting to slide down that hill. But I don't think that they're in a hurry. I'm not shocked if they don't take a quarterback tonight. I don't know that they will.
They have to take a quarterback, and for me, it has to be Dwayne Haskins. If you look at, he's very similar to Eli, where he's not really a mobile quarterback. He can at least get out of the way. He's not a statue like Eli anymore. He threw for over 50 touchdowns at Oklahoma. He's a good quarterback.
Ohio
State. Thank you. Kyler Murray went to Oklahoma. Exactly. But that's if Kyler Murray goes first to the Cardinals, or if someone trades up and gets him. They need Dwayne Haskins. He's the best possible option right now.
Keeping it
very definitive and passionate. I like it.
Keeping it in New York now, the Jets have the 3rd overall pick. Justin, what should they do? They have a lot of different options here.
They should trade back. They still need a pass rusher, obviously, but if they trade back from 6th or 3rd right now and they stay within the top 10, they can still get a premier pass rusher, and they can recoup those assets that they gave up with the Colts last year because they still don't have their 2nd-round pick this year. And 2nd-round to 3rd-round picks are still premium starters in the NFL, so they can easily recoup those assets.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't know enough about, other than watching a couple of games, to break down who is better as a pass rusher that's out there, other than reading the same mock drafts that we all have been reading, right? But I tend to agree. I like the Jets. I like what they've done this offseason. I think they've improved their team a lot. I think they could be pretty good, actually. So I think the trade down idea is good because right now they need pass rushers and, to me, just depth. That's the one thing they don't have. I think they have a lot of talent now, but they need overall depth and they need pass rushing. So I'm not opposed to that idea.
Samory?
I'm going to go with they need to get some pass rushers because you got two big ones in the draft. We got Nick Bosa.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah, he's probably going to be.
He is gone.
He's probably gone to the 49ers.
My man John Lynch is taking him with the second pick, so forget that.
Look,
that's over.
There's Quentin Williams out of Alabama.
He's gone. Come on now. He's going to be gone too.
He's not going to be the first
Arizona's
pick.
taking him.
Do you think so?
Yes. We're changing it up, Dante. That's what we're doing.
I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. Yeah.
Listen, if he's there, I'm with you. Take him. I don't see him being there though.
Nick Bosa or Quentin Williams?
Well, Bosa, no shot. Williams, maybe.
I think Williams will be there.
All
and
right.
I think they just acquired C.J. Mosley, so I feel like...
I'll give you that if he's there. I'll give you Williams if he's there.
If it stays true to form right now, Kyler Murray will go number 1, and then one of those pass rushers will be left at 3. The Jets should draft the best available player. Don't overthink it. Defensive players have been falling to them in the draft past few years. Keep the luck rolling.
Chris Douglas, a resident Jets fan.
Yes, yes, of course.
Chomping at the bits to say that.
Listen, I was way more nervous last year when I had no clue that they were going to end up having.
So who do you
Sam Darnold.
want as a Jets fan then, Chris?
Bosa.
You want
I think
Bosa?
he's the best player.
Yeah.
But Williams is kind of shaky on where their needs are. So we'll see.
Now, moving into kind of the general talk of the offseason, what non-playoff team from last year you had the most successful offseason so far?
Spoiler alert, resident Jets fan.
Why did I think
the New York
anything
Jets
different?
improved a lot. Kevin, you said it over the offseason. C.J. Mosley, Le'Veon Bell, they spent a lot of money on both sides of the ball. And for them to be able to make a splash in this draft, that would just complete the offseason like cherry on top for them. And they'll be able to make a playoff push this year.
Smart.
I'll have to go with the Packers. You know, people have been counting out Aaron Rodgers, and that's one man you don't count out. Like Stephen A. says, that's a bad man. So they've acquired some stuff on the defensive side. They got rid of their coach, Mike McCarthy. He's been there for a long time. So I feel like they're going to have a good year this year.
Kevin?
Yeah, I like the Packers' choice. That's a good choice, and I tend to agree. And Rodgers is ready to reload. That situation was toxic, and I think it's going to be a much different Packers team. I have to go with the Browns just because they got the best player. They got Odell Beckham, who I will say, he was not working in New York. There was a lot going on there. And so I kind of saw that coming. But I think that if you're just talking about pure talent, Cleveland, which improved a ton last year, and now they get the best receiver and they pair him with Landry, I don't see how they aren't the winner.
Well, you stole mine, so I'm going to agree with it. Cleveland, obviously, they added the best wide receiver in football, but also they added Olivier Vernon from the Giants, so they got another good pass rusher to pair with Myles Garrett, who last year took leaps and bounds developing into the pure number 1 pick as a pass rusher that he has. So Cleveland, I think they're going to win the North in all honesty.
Oh, God.
So,
Counting out the Pittsburgh Steelers already.
And the Ravens?
Big Ben just got his extension. He's not too old.
That's a gold watch
Look,
for
the
him.
Browns
They're
beat
set
one
on his
team
way
over
out.
500 last year that was in the playoff push. I don't want to hear that. I'm not ready to give it all to them.
I'm rolling with Pittsburgh.
I'll
in
tell
that
you
division.
one thing. I don't know if the Browns are ready for that, and I think there's going to be some road bumps for them. But the schedule makers think that. Check how many primetime games the Browns have this year.
About 4.
So they went from being a nothing to all of a sudden people want to see the Browns. So I don't know that I'm ready to put them on top of the division yet, but I think they're going to be interesting.
Well, we'll keep our eyes glued to the draft and the rest of the offseason. First pitch is with the MLB crew right after this. Keep it locked.